Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your TWitWoW monthly Q&A number 72. We have officially been doing Q&As now for 6 years. That is insane. We started this in, I guess it would have been July of 2016. And yeah, we've completed the 6 year journey now. It is June 2022. And John, if you're ready, we can just get right on into this with our first question from Super Blue.
Let's do it.
All right, we do have five from Super Blue. His first, though, did the recent NXT releases, and to be specific on the NXT releases he's referring to, he's talking about Dexter Loomis, Persia Parada, that group that got released. Who else was it? Malcolm Bivens and Dakota Kai. So he said, did the recent NXT releases doom any chance of you reviewing NXT special events such as the Great American Bash?
Doom is a strong word because I know we here at TWitWoW like to keep an open mind to all things when something cool is developing, but it doesn't help their case.
I was going to say, to me, the thing that doomed, quote unquote, any chance of us reviewing NXT special events is NXT's writing.
Yes.
Like, obviously, it's frustrating when they keep releasing really talented people that really deserve to get the biggest platform possible, and obviously only WWE is really able to provide that because they are the biggest platform available to wrestlers in the world right now. But, like, we already weren't going to review or watch the Great American Bash before those releases happened. Like, those releases didn't doom jack shit. The thing that doomed it was the first 4 months of this year's creative and like the last couple months of last year's creative. Basically everything after the first like month or so of NXT 2.0 is what doomed the chances of us reviewing or reacting to anything NXT 2.0 related.
Yeah, what he said. I really can't add anything to that. I think you put that perfectly.
All right, next question from Super Blue. I figured we'd get questions about this. How do you feel about the results of the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard defamation trial?
It's very revealing, honestly. Once again, I think it's very revealing about just the vitriol against women and just online misogyny. I will admit that I maintained the position I've had pretty much the whole time, and that's that I think it was a toxic codependency. I will admit that I think Ashton gave me a lot to chew on when he mentioned the age disparity between Depp and Heard and like the asymmetries in the relationship, given that Depp was a very established name at the time of their relationship and Heard was just breaking in, and now seemingly her career is over. I think she is, per this experience, probably very traumatized. I'm not even talking about the case. I'm not about the relationship in its entirety. I think she's very traumatized. I don't know if she's coping with that trauma well. And I believe me, I said that from a sympathetic place because it's amazing what trauma leaves you with that you may not even be aware of. And so I do think there was violence on her end, but I think it was I personally, the way I look at it, it was probably reactive. I think a lot of violence, whether emotionally, verbally, whatever. And that's another thing I noticed too. A lot of people were focusing on, oh, but he like never hit her and like stuff like that. But like violence is so much more than physical. It can be verbal put downs, it could be emotional manipulation. We talk about gaslighting a lot on here when we're talking seriously. Being like, oh, you did this thing. No, I didn't. And just completely restructuring their sense of reality to fit your benefit.
Yes.
And I do think a lot of that happened. I still want to be very careful because I personally don't want to give her all the credit because, again, I do want to say toxic codependency. I do think she had a hand in it. But again, I think, one, it was reactive, and two, he probably set the whole thing in motion, being the older partner and the older party, and the more established party in terms of status, prestige, and stuff like that. And, that could be very influential. When we talk about asymmetries, and, I don't necessarily know if this word's even appropriate, but when we talk about grooming and brainwashing, like, that's what it's about. Like, oh, if you do this for me, or if we, go as a couple, I could open a lot of doors for you kind of thing. That's making people vulnerable to what you want to do to them. And so I definitely think there's a power imbalance in the relationship. And again, I really credit Ashton for really kind of hammering that home to me, because honestly, before I was just thinking like they just need to be away from each other. But it's more intricate than that. And I think what I saw online a lot was just a failure to appreciate the intricacies. And hell, I don't know about you, bro, because I never want to speak for your experience. My experience in my corner of the internet, the trial was practically a meme for a lot of fucking people.
Yeah.
Particularly for people that were sympathetic to Johnny. Like, they would take sound bites of the case that would make her look bad. And I never, like, came out and said, oh, fuck Amber Heard. At most, like, I commented on one friend's post that also seemed to be against her and said, you know, that they both seem toxic because we've known about Johnny's issues. But yeah, I think a lot of people in Johnny's camp just treated this like a meme. And, you know, I don't know. I don't really know either of them. Obviously, nobody knows them. And that's another thing, too. I think, like, a lot of the worship and stuff, you don't know these people. You know what they want you to see. You know what they allow you to know.
Yep.
And so I think from that position, too, I think we always need to be smart. So I hope I haven't put my foot in my mouth, but that's just kind of my position on the whole thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of liken their entire relationship to a predator, you know, catching a piece of prey that was poisonous to it. You know, it's like nobody really won there. You know, the prey got bitten into, the predator got poisoned. Like it's you know, Johnny Depp, no doubt, is at least some kind of predator. Like, the dude is, how old is he at this point? Is he in his 60s?
He might be in his 60s at this point.
He is 59, so he just turned 59, and Amber Heard is, like, in her young 30s, and, like, when they first met, she would have been, I want to say, like, what was it, John, like, 21, 22, maybe younger? And he was, like, in his fucking 40s or something like that? Like...
Yeah, that sounds bad.
It's sus as hell. Yeah. And, like, so, like, to me, I see Johnny Depp as, like, oh, I mean, if Amber didn't stick around, if they didn't end up getting hitched, if they didn't have that toxic codependency that you talked about, and they weren't together for so long, he would just be another Leonardo DiCaprio, dating women until they turn 25 and then ditching them for a new model.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah.
So, like... Johnny, you know, is a type of predator, and Amber Heard just seems like a very manipulative, maybe even sociopathic, narcissistic type of person. I wouldn't want to be friends with either one of them, frankly, but if I had to choose one to party with, obviously Johnny would be more fun.
And, you know, you have to wonder, too, like, that manipulation and stuff like that. You have to wonder how much of that is a consequence of what happened to her.
Yeah.
Just as, like, a defense mechanism. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I have to manipulate people because that's how I...
survive.
That's how I don't get abused. That's how I survive. Yeah. Exactly. And, you know, I think this broaches a far more fascinating discussion, which we've kind of broached a bit on TWitWoW before. To me, it's a sensitive discussion. I always want to be careful. You know, when we talk about age of consent and appropriate relationships and this and that, like, you know, it's a known fact. We've said it many times on the podcast. The brain doesn't stop developing until 25. So Depp was with her before her brain was even done developing. And, you know, that could almost seem like a flippant throwaway line, but think about what you can do when a brain's still in development. You know, what can you get in on? What can you shape? What can you mold?
Well, and that's the other thing,
favor?
too, is, like, I think that Johnny himself is... more manipulative than people realize. He's more manipulative than I think a lot of people fully grasp. Because, like, even if you think about it this way, how does Johnny avoid making this look like him being misogynist or him having a problem with all women? One of his attorneys was a woman, a Latina woman, and basically ended up being a fucking celebrity coming out of this trial.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Her
Camille Vasquez.
Yes, her career is going to skyrocket.
You ask me the name of any Hollywood lawyer, and I literally could not have named one before this trial, but now I know who Camille Vasquez is because of this trial and because of Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
So, like, there's definitely some level of manipulation and strategy there, too. So I think that Johnny also has that to him and in him, and people just don't, like, people don't give him credit for it, because he kind of has this persona where he's this, like, I don't know, almost like chill, relaxed, fun, goofy, silly dude that's like, oh, woe is me. I was, you know, harassed and beaten for all these years. And it's like, well, yes, that probably is true. But also, how did it get to that point?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I know... It's weird, too, because I know some people, even people that I know you and I, you know, love and respect and, you know, like on here, you know, we're happy that this case happened because it shed a light on men being abused in dynamics. And in a way, I feel kind of bad that, like, Johnny was the poster boy for this of all people, just because of the preceding discussion we just had.
Yeah.
Because there's no doubt that men can be victims in relationships. I would never deny that. I don't think anybody would deny that. There's a difference between saying that it seems to be predominantly women that get abused and saying, like, men never get abused. Those are two qualitatively different statements. So, yeah, like, men can definitely be victims in relationships. It's just, Johnny definitely, with everything we've discussed, he has agency in this, especially being, again, the older, more established party at the start of the relationship. And I don't know. I would almost bet that a lot of her behaviors were reactive because of the relationship.
Dude, do you know what this whole fiasco has reminded me a lot of?
What's that?
The Betty Broderick story. Do you know about that?
We've talked about it before, but dude, honestly, so much has happened since we talked about it. Just refresh me if you could.
Well, there's a whole ass TV show about it. It's literally Dirty John Season 2 is called Dirty John Betty, and it is about the Betty Broderick story. And the reason that I watched it is literally because Christian Slater, who I fucking love as an actor, played Betty's husband in the show.
Okay.
Who she killed.
That's right. Yeah.
That was the whole thing, though, is that, like, if you believe her, he was a manipulative, strategic piece of shit. Like, I think that, like, he was, like, some kind of, like, malpractice attorney. So basically anytime, like, doctors were basically scared to take him because if they did anything that even somewhat maybe kind of crossed any lines whatsoever, he could sue them for it and make a bunch of money off of them. And they could lose their job and they could get, their license taken away from them and all that shit. So, like, he was, like, this super manipulative, shitty person, and she didn't want them to get divorced. She wanted them to stay together and try and work it out, and he was just dead set on them getting divorced because he was in love with someone else. And she ended up shooting him and his new squeeze while they were in bed one night, killing them both. And that was what the whole trial thing was, which was very publicized. It was another very publicized, very public trial. Very similar situation, in my opinion. The difference, thankfully, is that this time nobody had to die.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's just so interesting to me how similar those stories are. Because, you know what? Let me look. I wonder if he was a lot older than her too. I wonder if
that would be
the husband was a lot older than Betty too. He might have been. Let's see. Let me see if I can find info here. Here we go. In 1965, she met her future husband, Dan. Okay, no, he was only 3 years older than her. It wasn't anywhere close to the Johnny Amber situation in that way.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to leave it at that. Let's move on to our third question from Super Blue, if you're okay with that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, third question from Super Blue. What the fuck was Cody thinking, and why did no one in WWE try to stop him?
Oh, well, because, for them, Cody did them a favor. Ashton, again, I feel like Ashton already kind of answered this question in a way in his amazing Twitter thread, which I don't know if you pinned that. I wish you would. I know, because the schedule's always the pin. So, yeah, I understand why. But if we didn't have to worry about stuff like that, that should definitely have been your pinned tweet. And, yeah, it's just Cody having this pathological need to be liked, which I've said, which Ashton said, which other people have said.
Yep. And
WWE capitalizing on that because now Cody, through his selfishness and feeding that pathological need, has helped WWE set a precedent where if you're injured and you don't want to work hurt, which should be well within your rights to do so, because we're obviously very pro-working class on this fucking podcast, WWE could say, well, I guess that sucks. There goes your push. I mean, Cody works. I guess you don't want it bad enough. We'll just give your spot to someone else.
Yep.
Like,
Bingo.
yeah, it's
Bingo.
So why didn't they stop him? Because why would you stop somebody when they're doing something that benefits you?
Yeah, why would you? Yeah, I mean, if your enemy makes a mistake, just don't interrupt them. Just stand back and let them make the mistake.
Exactly. Like, Cody, I hate to say it. Like, I know. It's like, oh, I want to win the world title because my dad never won it. But, like, that just shows what a mark he is. Because we've even said, look, I love when people win championships. I'm already saying, like, I hope Kyrie beats Kamitani for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. But at the end of the day, it's like I enjoy the performance. And, like, I'm on the outside. I'm behind the guardrail, right? Metaphorically speaking. That shit's a fucking prop. Now, I get, like, I do kind of like what Jericho once said about championships, so it's kind of like being acknowledged for your work in cinema with, like, an Oscar. Obviously, you want to be a champion on that level because it's a recognition of your work. But, like, if you need to work injured to show people that you deserve to be world champion, maybe you're not as good as you think you are. Because really, if you're really good, I'll tell you something. You pull back and you get healthy and you make people want to see you compete. And then you're like, yeah, see, I left and they're still here waiting for me. Give me the fucking title. I'm a draw. But Cody didn't want to take that chance. He didn't want to take the chance of people like forgetting about him or whatever. He wanted to have the big blow off first, so that.
And dude, he's already getting fucking video packages on Raw highlighting his surgery and rehab and shit.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, that's not over. That's
literally Triple H all over again.
Yeah, that's manufacturing overness.
Yes.
That's not organic overness.
Yep.
To me.
Well, and dude, I feel like I wonder if you and I have had this discussion yet. Cody is literally Homelander.
Oh, yeah, I know you've said that. Well, I mean, Jesus Christ, dude, he practically appropriated the Homelander aesthetic towards the end of his AEW run. Like, I think even he knows it on some level that he's Homelander.
All right, well, since we've already addressed it then, I think we can just move on. That sound good?
Yeah.
Fourth question from Super Blue is just for me, and he wants to know if Cleveland should start praying and begging Baker to forgive them and stay. Yeah, because it looks like Deshaun Watson isn't going to play at all this season and might never play another snap in the NFL again. So they just gave a whole hell of a lot of money to a guy that they knew going into giving him all that money was very, very morally bankrupt to give him all that money. But they didn't give a fuck. They rolled that dice anyway, and now they're paying for it, literally and figuratively. Because I'm going to just read the tweet that Superblue posted here that led to him asking this question. According to a New York Times investigation, Deshaun Watson met a minimum of, listen to this, John, 66 women for massages over the course of 17 months. The Texans gave him access to hotel rooms for massage appointments and provided him with NDAs.
Wow.
We already have, I want to say, 24 women that have come forward with abuse allegations against him, sexual harassment, sexual abuse, etc., maybe even sexual assault. I don't know the full story. And the NFL is already talking about potentially giving him not a 1-year suspension, but an indefinite suspension. So,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and Cleveland just gave him the biggest contract of any player in NFL history. Despite having known about 22 of these 24 allegations.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, Cleveland, if they have any interest in actually, winning football games, with Deshaun Watson most likely not playing another snap this season and us not knowing when the hell he's going to play another snap ever again, if ever again, yeah, they should start counting their lucky fucking stars if Baker Mayfield is even willing to stick around and play another snap for them. And if I were Baker, I wouldn't. If I was Baker Mayfield and I literally took this team to the playoffs and won them a playoff game in the 2020 season, on the 2020 postseason, for the first time in, I think it was 3 decades, and they immediately, after you have one mediocre injury-plagued season, are ready to move on from you for a serial sexual assaulter, fuck you, I'm out. There's no fucking chance I'd want to play for them. But you never know. You never know. Baker might be a bigger man than me. Baker might be willing to do it. Baker, I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. They're not trading him anytime soon. There were talks that maybe the Panthers would trade for him, and those have died down. The only team left right now that might even be interested in him is Seattle, and that doesn't seem like it's got any kind of progress being made, so I really don't know. But their backup plan, if Baker isn't the man right now, is Jacoby Brissett. And Jacoby Brissett does some things reasonably well, but does a lot of things that are really important really poorly. So, yeah, Jacoby Brissett is not going to win a lot of games for you, Cleveland. And if you, as an organization, are fucking lucky, if Baker isn't starting for you, you just get the first overall pick and you get to wipe the slate clean and pick Bryce Young. And hope and pray that your fan base also forgives you for this fuck shit, which they shouldn't.
All right. I got nothing to add.
Fifth and final question from Super Blue. If Sasha did join Stardom, how much of a boost would it give them?
I'm just going to go first since the last question was entirely for you. I think it would be a considerable one. I think Sasha has a very rabid and devoted fan base.
Yeah.
I think subscription stardom world. I'm not going to say they'd blow up, but honestly, they might. Because here's the thing, too, about Sasha that we have to remember. It's not just that she's a really, really good wrestler. She has legitimate mainstream appeal.
Yes.
Like, her and Bianca were at the Kid Choice Awards. I think she knows Cardi B, and they've taken photos together. Like, she a fucking Star Wars.
Yeah, I was just going to say, she's literally been in Star Wars. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Like, her doing a Stardom run, even if it was just for a year, which, God, I would love just 1 year.
Oh, I know.
I think Stardom would do seriously good business just on the subscriptions alone.
Yes.
So I don't want to be redundant.
Yeah, well, dude, it's really like you said, her fan base is fucking, like, you even use the word ravenous. Like, yeah, they will follow her. And by they, really, I'm including myself. We will follow her no matter where she goes. Like, literally, if she went to OTT, I'd have to really think about getting a sub.
Yeah, true. Because I would just, because see, here's what I would want to know personally. It's not just that I would enjoy her content. I would genuinely want to know, okay, you're out of a company that already had the global reach by the time you got there. How much of a draw are you? Because if you see an uptick, you'd have to put it all on her wherever she goes. Because it's like, it's Sasha fucking Banks. I want to know how much of a draw she is, like at a company that doesn't have the reach or the presence that WWE does. Because I think she goes there. I mean, hell, I'd love to see her challenge fucking Mayu for kind of like a whole ace storyline. Like, oh, I'm building Stardom now. Mayu's like, fuck you are. No, I think it'd be huge, Super Blue. I definitely think it'd be huge.
Yeah. All right, so then our next set of questions are from Abel.
All right.
First question from Abel. What's the song that would save you from Vecna?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
I love this question so much. This is such a good question to me.
You know what? I don't even know if this is my favorite song, but it always hits me when I listen to it. I'm going to say Blackbird by Alter Bridge.
Oh, I love that. Beautiful.
That is such a good fucking song. Like,
yeah. That's awesome.
That is dope.
Believe it or not, that was actually like a song that I considered for myself.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Nice.
I fucking love that song, dude. That's one of my favorite.
What has
songs
that punch, right? Because like I don't even listen to it that often, but when I'm in the mood to, the fucking feels, dude.
Honestly, that's not even the only Alter Bridge song I considered. The other one was let me see if I can find the name of it. I forget the name of it. When I'm Gone, I think it's called. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I know it was on that. Actually, it might not have been on that same album. It might have been on the one before that. Let me look. No, it was. It was like 2 songs after Blackbird. Watch Over You. That's what it was. That was the other one that I thought maybe. But I think, honestly, I feel like I want to go with a song that I have like really strong memory attached to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I would actually go with. Now again, I have to look for the name of the song because I have it in my mind and I remember the lyrics, but I don't remember the name of the song. So just give me a moment.
I really like this question, Abel. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really good question, Abel. Thank you. It is More Than a Feeling by Boston.
Oh, okay.
That is a song that I have literally loved my entire life. My mom has always loved it. Even my dad, I think, is the one that introduced it to my mom. So that is like a song that is run in my family, basically. And that is a song that I have strong memories of going back to a time in my childhood that I really don't have many memories from at all.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things where that song is one of the very few songs that I have literally always loved. I loved it when I was a single-digit child. I loved it when I was a teenager. I loved it when I was in college. I love it as an adult. Like, there aren't very many songs that you can say that about. So for me, I think that would be it for me.
Great pick. A great question, too, again, Abel. So let's.
I will say, though, I think if we're going by preference, like favorite song or whatever, I don't even think that that's my favorite song by Boston. I think I like Foreplay Long Time better, and I think I even like Smokin' better, just off of the literal singular album that More Than a Feeling is even on. Like, that's how, like, it's less about that being my favorite song and more about just memories being attached to it. And that's like the whole thing with Vecna, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like, if we're just going by favorite song ever, I really don't know if I could choose, honestly.
Me either, because I'm also thinking about being in the Upside Down, and like I'm not gonna kick Vecna's ass, so I can't go with the rock songs. I ain't doing shit. I'm getting the fuck out of there. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Blackbird just seemed to really capture the mood of everything, and
Yeah.
I think it would keep me like grounded.
All right, second question from Abel. What was your favorite and least favorite subject in school? And then he has in parentheses, please don't say math for least favorite. You might upset Mark.
Oh, God, no, I will say math because that's my true answer. I didn't even say right answer, but it's the true answer for me. I fucking hated math. I like Mark. You know, Mark's cool. We've actually gotten a bit closer. You know, mathematician philosopher alliance is fucking dope. Hell, I'm even trying to open my heart to math again, particularly with the Cantor theorem and set theory. But like,
Ooh,
you know,
sexy.
thank you. But, you know, as a kid, it fucking blew. And then people that I trusted, people that I was vulnerable with, lied to me, actually, in two different ways. Because I had one math teacher go into my IEP meeting and say that he thought I was going to be a future Columbine. I think I already told that story on here.
Yeah,
And then,
God, people suck.
and then on a more innocent note, I had my geometry teacher tell me, like, oh, if you struggle with algebra, I did, you'll find geometry easier. I didn't. So, fuck that. They're all a bunch of fucking liars, and they're awful.
That was amazing. I did.
So,
I didn't.
So, yeah. So, here's a math problem for you. Why don't you find the equidistance from my lips to, or actually, no, my ass to your lips. There we go. They almost loved it there. I caught myself. So, yeah, fuck math. And my favorite subject, God, English is so lazy. I wish there were other cool classes. Like, my German teacher for the first 2 years, until he you know, got removed from the school because apparently he was like smoking pot or whatever. Great drug laws, everybody. You know, so German was cool. I always did like English, but you know the problem with English? They didn't give you enough autonomy to fucking read.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, no, I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Like, I was going to say, it wasn't autonomous enough with the reading because my junior year in honors English, you had to pick one author and just do book reports all on that author. You couldn't change. I hate that. You want kids to read. Reading, I love what one of my favorite philosophers, Deleuze, says about this. It's like you plug a book in, you see what you can get from it, not even in an instrumentalist way. Like, does it affect you? Does it make you feel things? Does it want to make you experiment with life? No, put it away. Pick up another one. Keep experimenting. Like, I probably never would have gotten into Harry Potter. Cool to everybody that got into Harry Potter and was a better person because of it, unironically. And I hope they stayed that way even after J.K. Rowling was like, you know, mask off. For me, the books that resonate with me, and I talk about this all the time, fucking Margaret Peterson Haddock's a fucking queen with the Shadow Children series. I guarantee you that was my earliest moment of radicalization, and I didn't even know it. Because, like, one of those books was literally called Among the Barons, and it was about wealthy people that threatened a kid who was a third child, because I've already explained the story and I want to take up too much time. And they're like, oh, yeah, if you don't do this, we're going to out you to the government. They're going to kill you. Like, she knew. She knew that rich people were the fucking worst, and that was trying to teach all of us. So you keep plugging books in, because when you do mandatory reading, you have to read books like Swallowing Stones, which was fucking awful, because it was about teenage angst and a kid that was stupid and got a gun for his birthday and shot it up into the air because he felt like a Chad, even though he was a piece of shit. And the bullet ricocheted and hit a girl's father while he was patching up the fucking roof, and he died.
Jesus
and then the
Christ,
kid
what
has
is this
anxiety,
book?
like... I know, and we were forced to read it, and it wasn't even that good. And then another one, which had a brilliant premise, therefore it lied to me. You know, on the beach, half the world is gone, and then the other half is slowly dying because the radiation's being blown by the winds, so it's more slowly affecting the other areas, so it's nuclear apocalypse. So you think, wow, we're getting into the minds of these people as they're slowly dying, their hopes, their dreams, the things that they have to make peace with, having never fulfilled. No.
Can I
Most
just say,
banal fucking shit.
You've unlocked something I didn't remember for so long that just came back to me. I know what the worst book I've ever been forced to read is now.
What's that?
Bridge to Terabithia.
Oh, didn't they make a movie out of that?
Yeah, and it was fucking garbage too. I hated it.
I love how your tone starts. I thought it was going to be like, yeah, and it was better, but no, you doubled down on different media.
Dude, it was so bad. It was so fucking bad. Dude, literally, okay. Do you tell me if I'm, like, overly sensitive here? In the movie, which is very clearly targeted at children, Like, literally, let me see if I can find Bridge to Terabithia, 2007 film. I remember Anna Sophia Robb was in it, and a fucking kid that ended up being in Hunger Games. Josh something or other. Josh Hutcherson, that's the kid's name. I think that's who it is, right? He played the kid in the Hunger Games.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he was PETA. That's the kid's name in Hunger Games. Anyway, so he was in the movie. But, like, this movie was explicitly a kid's movie, right?
Yeah.
And, like, I don't even know how. Okay, fucking spoilers for a movie that happened 15 goddamn years ago in 2007. One of the main characters, who are children, fucking dies in the movie.
Yeah.
Just straight out, like, they do a fucking, the kid dies because, I think it was, the little girl who fucking died, played by Anna Sophia Robb. She fucking died because she was trying to cross the bridge and she ended up hitting her head and she fucking drowned or something like that. And, like,
Oh yeah.
did you say, oh yeah, because you remembered?
I do, because I think I remember watching a review. Might have even been a Nostalgia Critic review or something when I was into him at the time.
I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why would you expose children to this shit? This is literally fear-mongering children.
Dude, I don't know how much the public education system desensitizes kids from reading. It's gotten to the point, guys, where I haven't read fiction in years. Like, I did have some positive reading experiences in school. Like, that's where I encountered Dostoevsky, and, like, he's fucking amazing because I love Crime and Punishment. But the last time I really enjoyed fiction as an adult, my grandmother was really concerned, and maybe she should have been retroactively, but was the fucking Hannibal Lecter series. And she was like, oh, John, I couldn't read that. But, like, it just felt so good to enjoy a book again. And then, of course, philosophy made me enjoy literature in a completely different way. But, yeah, like, I wonder how much the public education system just decentivized kids from reading. Because it's like, no, you forced me to do this. I couldn't even find what I liked. Fuck you. And, like, wow. Way to go, school system.
Yeah, dude,
I
hated that book and I hated that movie.
I am so sorry you went through that, man. No, I feel your pain on that one. I really do. Like,
especially,
mandatory
like, even just in the
awful.
movie, I remember thinking, like, God, this is so lame. Because, like, the little girl in the movie, just, like, they were, like, chilling in, like, the middle of a fucking forest, and she started talking about things that just didn't exist, and she expected the boy to just play along like she's not a fucking psychopath, and then she ends up being the one that dies too. Like, the one that invented Terabithia is the one that died trying to get into Terabithia. It's the dumbest shit I've ever fucking seen in my life.
Oh, so we need to round out this discourse just with this question from Rotten Butter. Why would you even watch the movie if you hated the book or vice versa? So how did that happen?
I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you. I genuinely don't know. I think it's one of those things where, like, I hated the book, but I forgot that I hated the book by the time the movie came out. Because you got to realize, I read the book in 5th grade, so I would have been 10, so it would have been 2000. And the movie didn't come out for another 7 years. And the fact that those years were my ages 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, I definitely did not remember how much I hated the book. And I wanted to watch the movie because I recognized the name of it. And the movie looked cool. Like, the graphics and the CGI and shit, it looked really interesting. It looked really cool. And then the story happened, and it all fell apart.
Yeah. Goddamn, man. Goddamn.
But anyway, did you answer the question, or did you just talk about how garbage mandatory reading is?
Oh, so yeah, math, and then because I didn't want to say English because English had its own problems. That's what got me started on that. So I guess my favorite subject. What period of school was this? It was just schooling in general? Did he demarcate like a specific period, like high school, middle school?
Yeah, he just said in school. Favorite and least favorite subject in school.
For the longest time, it was gym because we played tag and did like fun fucking shit until high school where it got boring and you either could like walk around, do the weight room, or play volleyball. Everything just got progressively worse. That's a horrible message to send kids. Like, oh, you're having all this fun now, get used to it because, when you get older, it's all going to go away. No recess or anything. And then they start instituting hierarchies because, like, oh yeah, only seniors can eat outside. Man, fuck you. So, yeah, I guess gym, English toss-up. Actually, no, you know what?
The literal natural enemy of an anarchist.
And then I'd love to tell you English too, Abel, because in middle school, like, a teacher that, like, to this day, I, like, really hard crush on. She was a formative influence for me too, and she was my English teacher. We actually read some good books as far as mandatory reading goes, and then I reconnected with her a little bit ago. She's gone way far right. And, like, I cannot tell you how that's crushed my fucking soul. Mm-hmm. So, like, no, Abel, there is no favorite subject because everything sucks and everything will hurt you in the end.
You made yourself squee. Is that a different kind of popping yourself?
It's just the distress. I can't believe I said that to my own child. I'm a terrible parent. Oh god.
No,
So yeah,
no. You're a
English
great
gym
parent.
toss up. I'm really trying, man. I'm really fucking trying. So hard. Next.
Well, I never answered. Jeez.
Oh, sorry. I thought, because you kind of joined in with me on the whole reading thing that for whatever reason I thought you did answer. So, no, sir, you take the reins. I'm done.
Well, so least favorite for me. The thing is, I think a lot of this varied by year. So, like, for example, when I was really young, like elementary school age, I fucking loved reading. Like, reading was one of my favorite things to do, and I loved math. And I would actually say that my least favorite classes then were like grammar classes, like shit where you had to like learn what verbs and adjectives and nouns and shit are, and like learning cursive and shit like that. I hated that. So that was like my least favorite class back then. But then, like, once I got into, I would say, middle school, I stopped liking reading as much. So I guess you could say that different types of language and English classes have always been my least favorite. Because I fucking hated mandatory reading. I fucking hated doing book reports. I hated all that shit. But at the same time, I don't know if I've ever hated a mandatory class more than I hated my American history classes in ninth and 10th grade.
Oh, wow.
Dude, that was do you remember the story that I told about how I had my senior project and I got it all the way done and the fucking asshole teacher that I was supposed to give it to lost it and I had to do a whole second senior project?
Oh, I do remember. Oh, that teacher should have been fired, man.
That
If they weren't going to give
motherfucker.
you an
No,
A,
dude,
yeah.
you think that teacher should have been fired? That teacher got me called into the fucking principal's office. And we ended up literally, we set up a meeting where me, my mom, the principal, the vice principal, and this teacher were all sitting in a room together. And I was literally just being told that I was wrong and that I was the one that lost it and that it was never anything wrong with this teacher and that, like, they literally shifted the blame entirely on me.
Oh, I hate the fucking system so much. Jesus.
Yeah. But that motherfucker was my American history teacher in ninth and 10th grade, and I fucking hated him, and I fucking hated those classes because of it.
Yeah.
Favorite class, like I said, when I was very young, I always loved reading until the mandatory shit started coming up and you had to, like, read outside of school and stuff. I've always loved math. I think. I think my favorite classes were almost always computer classes, though. Like, I loved my typing class in elementary school. I loved my computer classes in middle school. To the point that when I got into high school and we had electives, I started taking programming classes. Like in ninth grade, I took Intro to C++. And then in 10th grade, I took C++2. And then in 11th grade, I actually took two programming classes. I took Intro to Visual Basic and Intro to Java. And then as a senior, I was actually in AP Java. But I will say, by the time I was a senior, my favorite class was no longer the programming. It had become physics. Physics is my favorite class I've ever taken. I loved that shit.
Yeah.
And I was actually in honors physics, too. It was really cool.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I fucking loved it, though. I literally, my entire high school career, I always, except for biology, but my first year, which was more of like a basic, like general overview of science that touched on a little bit of everything, and then 11th grade was chemistry and 12th grade was physics, and I loved all three of those classes so fucking much. Those were the best.
Dude, my junior year chemistry teacher was the fucking best, and that might have been my last gasp of like potentially having like a future in STEM because I know I've told you guys as a kid I wanted to be an inventor, and that teacher meant so much to me because like I even learned afterwards in my IEP he recommended me for advanced chemistry my senior year, but I couldn't take AP classes. I was dealing with way too much at home. My mental bandwidth just could not. But it meant a lot. So I'm glad you got to have those experiences, man. And it's cool when you have cool teachers along the way, too. And not those that are dicks and fucking lose projects and blame you for it. Fuck
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah. And then
I
when
hope
I was
that
in...
guy... Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I hope that guy and the math teacher that tried to link me to, like, mass shootings and terrorism, like, are having a fucking horrible time. I really hope they're not doing well.
I wouldn't be surprised one bit if they were both alt-rightists. Anyway.
Yeah.
So... The only other thing I wanted to add was in college. I don't really know if I had a favorite class. I hated college.
Same, bro. Community college was the fucking worst.
I went to an art school. I literally went to an art institute, and the best part was the actual learning how to code part, but then the worst part was literally everything else because like I went to college for web design, and the shit that they taught us. Okay, so there were okay, let me think. There were one, two, three, four big sort of aspects that we had to learn, right? So the first big one was making graphics for your websites, right? So like Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, that kind of stuff. And I generally really did like those, even if I didn't really put as much effort into those as I probably should have. The next one was the coding part, which is the actual coding of your website. And that was a very mixed bag. The third one was marketing, which I fucking hated. I absolutely despised marketing. And then the third one was like, how do you actually get a job? And like, how do you, write a resume? And how do you apply for a job? And how do you handle interviews? And basically trying to prepare you for actual insertion into the workforce after you get done. But coming back to the coding part, coding is... So we had some coding classes that I absolutely loved. Like I would say my JavaScript class and my CSS class were probably my favorite classes the entire time I was there, because they actually taught you like from the ground level. Like they taught you the groundwork. They taught you how to type these different types of code. They taught you what stuff did. They basically got you to a point that you could do just about anything you wanted. And the only thing that would maybe be able to make you have an easier time is if you knew certain keywords that you could use as shortcuts to do something that you would otherwise still be able to do just in a longer way, right? But I had a fucking Flash class. Dude, do you remember Flash? Adobe Flash?
Oh yeah. Didn't they just phase that out only like a year ago?
Oh yeah,
maybe
it's completely dead now. But when I was in college in 2009 and 2008, we had to learn this shit, and I wanted so badly to actually learn this shit because we had a classmate who was really good at it already before we got into these classes, because he literally just went to this college for the degree to prove that he had like the credentials, because he already knew how to do fucking everything before he even got there. But I swear to God, dude, this was the worst actual teaching method I've ever had in my life. Because, and the thing is, I loved our teacher. Our teacher was a super sweetheart. She was really nice. I liked her as a person. Fucking hated her as a teacher. Because literally, she gave us huge chunks, pages, John, of code, and told us to run it and then edit the little bits and pieces of it that we want to fit what we want. That's not teaching, in my opinion.
No, it's just like laying something on somebody's lap and being like, do it.
Yeah.
Like how?
Literally,
how?
She didn't teach us how to actually write the code. She only taught us how to edit code that was hand gifted to us.
Yes.
I was so fucking angry. That's that term. Like, I hated that so much, dude. I was so angry. I wanted to learn that code so fucking bad, but like, I have an attention span problem, as you know, so I can't just like sit down and watch 4 hours worth of tutorials. I have to be taught the shit that I'm literally paying to be taught, and you can't do it for me.
Yeah, exactly.
I was so angry that, like, dude, I even started telling my mom, literally in my 4th term out of 6, my passion was dead and I was ready to quit. And I basically decided, I've already spent so much money on this, I might as well get something out of it. And I, to this day, still haven't gotten anything out of it because the degree that I got is fucking worthless, and it is probably sitting in a box somewhere collecting dust.
Samesies, because I'll tell you, business administration, and I only got my associates.
Same.
For one thing, I would have needed at best maybe a bachelor's, if not more. Second of all, for a degree like that, that's soul sucking and helping the capitalist enterprise that's killing us all. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And I've always said about you personally, just to bring it back on you, and then we can move on to the next question. I feel like engineering was in your blood, and for me,
Yeah.
I wish I would have discovered philosophy earlier, because I'll tell you, the education scene is a fucking dumpster fire.
Dude, I wish
But
I would
maybe
have
I could have,
discovered
yeah,
physics earlier because that would have probably led me down the path to engineering.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I literally didn't discover physics until I was already a senior in high school, and to this day, probably my favorite class of all time.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you, the way everything's structured, this whole thing was like a microcosm to how much needs to change in education to me. But next question.
All right, next question. Third question from Abel. Do we have a moral obligation to make the world a better place?
I mean, I would say so. I
Yeah.
would hope so. I think when you share it with other people, you're not the only person in the world, but I feel like there is an interconnectedness. One person's action, even from far away, could have an effect. I don't want to say like butterfly effect shit. That's why I use the word interconnectedness instead. Could affect things over here. So you should always want to do the best that you can. Now that means different things for different people, and that's something I've been thinking about.
I don't
For
like this
somebody,
question. I like Abel. I love you. You're wonderful, but this question to me reeks of capitalist bootlicking. It's not any individual person's responsibility or moral obligation, as you put it, to make the world a better place. Like, you shouldn't put that on a single person. That's like those fucking Twitter accounts that tweet, here are 5 steps that you can take to reduce your CO2 emissions. It's like,
oh, I
go
hate those
fuck
fucking
yourself.
articles.
There's like 85% of those emissions are coming from like 8 companies.
Yeah,
Like, there ain't jack shit that any individual person can do. So, like, just from that perspective, I'm not a huge fan of this question and how it was phrased and, like, the implication of it. But, like, do we have a moral obligation to just be decent to each other? I think, yeah, obviously. But is that in and of itself going to make the world a better place? Fucking no.
no, not without collective action. To me, like, you can't individuate the stuff that we're facing. That's been precisely
Exactly.
the problem.
Exactly.
Um, but I think it's a hallmark though of our neoliberal condition, because what's the whole thing about neoliberalism? Be an individual, carve your own identity through your own unique relationship with consumerism. One person drinks Coke, another one drinks Pepsi. They're individuals, and I think our neoliberal order or capitalist order has kind of framed like community and other people being involved as almost like an encroachment on that freedom and individuality. They kind of gaslight you that linking up with people affects you negatively
Yeah.
and your authenticity. And it's bullshit, because our power to act and to be ourselves increases with community. I mean, just to give a very low stakes example, everybody knows like philosophy is my passion. But I felt like I achieved a greater level of freedom, of authenticity, of all those things that neoliberalism like kind of sucks out the content of those words into mere platitudes, when I linked up with other people, when I did collaborative writing with my dear friend Brian, when I went to Colorado and I talked with other people and I
And
made
found your
community with
tribe?
other people. Yeah, well, I don't like that word because of indigenous people, so I just kind of stick with community.
Oh.
But yes, same sentiment, definitely.
Just to be
and
clear,
so-
I only used that word because that was the word that you used when you told it to me originally.
And that's true, but I learned since then, so we're both gonna.
And now I have
But yeah,
to. Hooray.
yeah. So yeah, I found my community, and so I've always liked how Eastern thought approaches this, because an individual can only be an individual if there's a community in which they're grounded. But then the individual is always going to, come back to the community for whatever. Even if my whole individual persona is, I like philosophy. Well, I need bookstores to buy books, or I need an internet connection to, get the fucking PDFs. Like, you're always going to need somebody else. So individuality is already a very tenuous concept, but then the way it's appropriated, it kind of makes us, like, it kind of disempowers us, ironically. You think you're empowered, but you're not, because they're telling you don't link up with these people, don't whatever, but that's how you don't make a new social order. That's how you don't make a better world, which is the aim of your question, Abel. Make a better world. Well, what does better mean? Certainly, I would think the antithesis of the world we're living in now. So yeah, I definitely agree. I think the concept of individuality in this particular social environment is very insidious.
Yeah, like, if you mean we as, like, the royal we, like, as a society we, yeah, absolutely. This society has a moral obligation to make the world a better place because there are so many people being left behind. But individually, no. I don't think that's a fair thing to ask of any one person. Is that they need to make the world a better place? You know what I mean?
No, all just and substantive action is always collectivist in character.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you something: where the obligation comes from, I will never forget this as long as I live. Because again, I run around in philosophy circles, and like I wish I could remember her name because it really hit me so fucking hard. She's like, all these people that talk about like, oh, I wouldn't want to live forever, or what have you. She says it's very privileged. Like here I am fighting white supremacy. I'm fighting for
Wait, are you talking
clean
about Greta
water.
Thunberg?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
it was not. I can tell you for a fact it wasn't her. What was I saying? Yeah, this woman on Twitter was like, fighting white supremacy, fighting for clean water, stuff like that. And you're talking about like, oh, I wouldn't want to live forever. Well, I fucking would, because if I'm spending all my life fighting oppressors and for the shit that I need, that's like basic human fucking needs, and then there's no life left, like what the fuck? And that right there, I think, is our obligation. And again, particularly white cis heterosexual men that bootlick capitalism. Obviously, other groups too, but that's like the paradigm of fucking oppressive behavior. They get to live full and meaningful lives, and it always comes at the expense of somebody else because of the way things are organized.
Yeah.
So when we say collectivist, it's a liberation of life itself, so that everybody can truly know the concept of a life and substantiate that concept with joy and memories and discoveries and passions. Everybody should have that. That is one part of me that I hope I never lose, because that's the last bastion of my idealism. Just the idea that everybody deserves that kind of life and it's worth pursuing. And so, yeah, that's where I think our obligation comes from. I don't even necessarily like the word moral, because I even feel like moral could invite something like, because I feel like that's the language of like, oh, surrender yourself to God to live a more just, a more purified life. There is a morality. I do believe in an objective morality. Like I'm always going to be like averse, right, to children being murdered or rape or whatever. As I've said, Uvalde really affected me. But I think it's more about what kind of life can one live?
Uh-huh.
Can the black person? Can the animal? Because I even think also we're very anthropocentric. I think we need to think about other life outside of human life. What life is.
Even Pisley's?
Even Pisley's. And this is the only time I'm going to say it. And if anybody tries to shove it in my face, I will deny it. And then I'm not going to finish that thought. Even Pisley's. What kind of life can this animal live when we don't ecologically disturb it? That's the kind of thinking I want. Some people call it post-humanist. I would just say it's holistic. It's focusing on the human and the non-human animal life on this planet, and it's having a dialogue with the earth and what it can do and what we can do for it, and vice versa.
Regenerative farming.
There you go. Next question from Abel.
Why? And I want to answer this one first because I have a very simple, short answer to this. Why do so many people believe capitalism is the only viable economic system and that there is no viable alternative to it? Damn near a century of anti-communist, pro-capitalist propaganda.
Yeah. I mean, what can I add to that isn't just a lengthier way of saying the same thing? Next question.
Fifth question from Abel. What's the happiest time period of your life?
Oh, man. That's tough. Because on one hand, my childhood was mostly shit, but the good times were really good. And I think that almost accentuates it, right? Because everything else is so bad that the good moments are almost like intensified. You never forget a first crush or anything like that. Honestly, though, I would have to say when I first came upon philosophy, because it really altered my life. It altered the very trajectory of my life. I've made friends that I think I'm going to have the rest of my life. I've done things I never thought I would do, including going on a plane or getting on a plane and going to a completely different state. I'd say the happiest time of my life has really been these last 10 years that I've gotten to do this and grow. And then on the TWitWoW side, that's been great too, because we've done Stardom and we've expanded our horizon there. So yeah, I'd say this last decade, I would have to say, because I've been out of that house too in Jersey. Well, I've only been here for 8, so there was 2 that I was there. But again, having philosophy to cope definitely helped. And then living here the past 8 years. So yeah, I think I'd say that the happiest time of my life is what I'm living right now. Even with everything going on in the world, it's been really good.
Wow.
It's been really good.
Damn. Let's see. I am basically torn between three moments, three time periods, I guess you could say. All right.
Yes.
Number one is summers that I used to spend at my nan's house because it was always air conditioned, which was wonderful, and I was always able to watch Nickelodeon shows like my Rocket Power and SpongeBob and Cat Dog and the Rugrats and Hey Arnold and Doug and all those shows that I used to absolutely love. And I got to play games like video games. I always loved just hanging out in the basement playing Guitar Hero 3. I literally spent an entire summer just playing pretty much that, and between that and Super Smash Bros. Brawl, those were like my games back then. So that's one thing. And then another thing is like the last week or two of my senior year of high school up to my initiation at college. Hello?
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I just thought there was more to that. I just wanted to let you speak. I didn't want to cut you off.
Yeah, because I remember my first day of college was July 14th, 2008. I graduated in, I want to say, the last couple days of May or the first few days of June of that same year. So I got like a solid month there that was just insanely cool. Because like I got to go on my senior trip where we went to a beach, like with a boardwalk. I think it was either Wildwood, New Jersey, or Ocean City, New Jersey. I don't remember which one. But this was like me with my senior class from high school. Like literally all of us that basically grew up together going to a beach and chilling there for a few hours, and then everyone getting on a bus and going to a Baltimore Orioles game down in Baltimore, which we literally got to vote for. Like, it was literally, do you want to spend the rest of the day at the beach, or do you want to go to this Orioles game? And the majority vote was the Orioles game. So we all went to the Orioles game. That was cool as hell. It might have even been the Philadelphia Phillies. I don't remember. I thought it was the Orioles, but it might have been the Phillies. But regardless, then we all got on the bus home. That was cool. That was a lot of fun. I got to have a really cool conversation with somebody that I had become really good friends with my senior year. It was just a great time, and then like just being able to kind of chill before college ruined my fucking life was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another one, and then the next one is actually somewhere around like the summer of 2016 ish, I would say.
Yeah.
Because just like wrestling wise, that was the tits. That was the fucking best because we had Lucha Underground season 2. We had an amazing G1 climax. NXT was on point. Like everything was just hitting that year. And that was also like the latter, I would say third of 2016 was also when SmackDown was last, like legitimately amazing. So like wrestling wise, that was like far and away my favorite era. Just because of the Lucha Underground existence, and then New Japan being so on point at the time, and plus we also got NXT being really good, and then SmackDown was really good at the same time. That's like the last truly great era of wrestling to me. I don't know if there's been one since. I'm thinking there probably hasn't.
Yeah. No, I would agree.
So it's one of those three. It was either summers when I was very young, like preteen to teenager, 8 years, or like last couple of weeks of my senior year of high school into the beginning of the summer vacation before I got into college and ruined my life, and then 2016, like summer into fall of 2016, between Lucha Underground, NXT, New Japan, and SmackDown. Yeah, that all combined was really fucking great. So yeah, I don't really want to pick between those three, but I will say, yeah, those were all fun. Those were all great. So let's get into our next set of questions. Actually, there is no other set of questions. There's one singular question from Angel.
Okay, cool.
I simplified it. Basically, he said growing up he loved ECW, but over time he lost his taste for that hardcore style and like the senseless brawls, and he just really wants to know if the same thing has ever happened to us.
We've never really been big on hardcore wrestling. I only ever really liked it when Mick was doing it as a kid because I just loved Mick Foley as a kid. I still look back fondly on that street fight he had with Orton at Backlash 2004. I just think with wrestling in general, like, I still love it because, you know, we found Stardom, and I'm hoping the G1 is good, but I'm a bit apprehensive about that. And even Money in the Bank, I'm kind of looking forward to just because I love the gimmick match, and, you know, I'm hoping it's good. But I can definitely say that I don't, on the whole, love wrestling as much as I used to, especially, like, with other passions in my life and other interests, and just getting older and wanting to, you know, experience other stuff. But that's why I'm grateful for Stardom. And AEW has been good, too, to be fair to them. AEW has really, like, turned a corner with me. It's been very entertaining. But, you know, on the whole, it's like, yeah, I definitely see myself. Like, I don't hate it by any means. But, yeah, I don't think I'm the fervent fan that I used to be. I think the last time I was really fervent was Lucha Underground. It's funny you even mentioned that. Because, like, yeah, that really brought me back to that childhood feeling. Like, I cannot miss an episode of this. And I will kick myself and I will berate the world if I miss an episode of this fucking shit. That's how you know. So I don't even know if it's necessarily growing out of wrestling. I do think it's part of that, you know, because people do change. But I think it's also that, like, even the best stuff, you know, when you've been a part of something, and LU is just really fucking special television. I think it's the last time I was, like, fervently fucking passionate about wrestling. But I think Stardom's kind of in that similar vein. I mean, God, if we're staying up so late to react to shows live, right? That just shows that it's kind of striking some kind of chord with us. But yeah, I don't really think I have a particular instance where it's like, oh, I don't really hit where I used to. I just think it's just wrestling in general, where it's like, I know the stuff I really like, but I'm not that same, like, oh, I got to watch everything. This is such a big part of my life now because, you know, I've got other stuff and people and stuff like that. So what about you, man?
I don't think that I've ever experienced anything like that, honestly. I think that my tastes in wrestling have barely changed since even as early as, like, the late 90s, I would say. I don't think, even back then, I didn't love, like, the hardcore bloody stuff. I wasn't that big into it back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't think that I've had that much of a change, so I guess maybe you could color me lucky in that sense.
Yeah, I will say maybe I could identify with Angel a bit more because I even like WWE's run of ECW, especially in the early days when it seemed like Paul Heyman was running it and, like, they did the Extreme Rules matches and stuff. But I think looking back on it now, it's like, nah, you know, there are people that I think can do that type of match really well. I don't want to diss those workers. But I think there are other workers that use it as a crutch, honestly. That it's like, I can't work. Tommy Dreamer. So, like, let me put this guy through a table or let me go through the table or the bed attacks or whatever.
Oh, Joey Janela.
And Joey Janela, yeah. And then people won't talk about how I can't even do a fucking headlock. So, yeah. But
let's get into our next set of questions then. Craig Skiff's questions. Again, the first one is just for me. He said, what are your thoughts on the news that USC and UCLA are officially leaving the Pac-12 and joining the Big Ten in 2024? That's pretty cool. It might make for some really interesting schedules because that's two West Coast teams joining a conference that's predominantly North and Northeast. So I don't really know how great that's going to work out, and like Midwest. But I would definitely say that that is a huge blow to the Pac-12. Although they still have like Stanford and Oregon and Washington. So it's not like the Pac-12 just sucks all of a sudden. But it is definitely a hit to the Pac-12, especially USC, because I feel like USC is such a stalwart there. But USC going to the Big Ten is really weird and really interesting. And basically, I see it as Lincoln Riley and Chip Kelly going to the Big Ten. And that is very intriguing because that is two powerhouse offenses that I don't know if the Big Ten is really built to stop. Because the Big Ten, I feel like, is much more of like a traditional conference where, you know, they're more kind of run the ball and use play action. Like, you've got fucking Iowa and Wisconsin in there and stuff. And, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's fun. It's intriguing. I'm curious to see how it goes. So, next question from Craig is for both of us, John. With the run that Jon Moxley is on right now, is he in the conversation for Wrestler of the Year in your year-end awards?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've been loving him on the mic. I'm happy that he's the interim champion. I will say again, and I don't mean to sound annoyed, but I know I've said it multiple times already, so I don't want to annoy you guys. But I will say again, I hope he beats CM Punk when Punk comes back and they do the unification match.
Yep.
I think he has an amazing story because the promo he cut when he came back from rehab was incredible, and he's followed through, and he's really, since doing the rehab, he looks to be in the best shape of his career.
Yeah.
The only nitpick I have, I think he's gotten too comfortable being back in that deathmatch zone. I almost hate to say this, but I feel like WWE almost in a way forced him to be a better wrestler, because if you couldn't rely on blood and you couldn't blade every time, right? You had to find another way to really sell the drama and to really, weave that narrative.
I fucking hate how he literally has to bleed in every single fucking match. It's like
he bladed after a sling blade from Tanahashi.
Dude, I know, right? It's like, dude, I feel like he's inherited needing to bleed in every single match from fucking Cody, and I hate it.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, and you know it means something coming from me, because I think you can vouch for me that I've been very praiseworthy of Moxley on this run. Sure. I think his reliance on blading and his leaning so heavily into it, it really does prevent him from being in that GOAT conversation for me. If he wasn't so dependent on it, I would even fight for him in that debate. And, like, Danielson's fucking untouchable when he's healthy and he's able to, do the programs and stuff like that. I know he's kind of rehabbing something now. Fucking Seth Rollins is having one of those runs that, like, you had to be there. And that's why I hate how much I hate WWE now, because I want to take that ride with Seth, but I can't bring myself to do it. I can only do it through YouTube clips. And even then, it's like I can't even muster the energy to do that. But, yeah, I would be so much more in Mox's corner. And I feel like I'm already very passionately in his corner if he didn't lean so much into the blading. Like, he is so good right now. It's like, dude, dial it back. You're a great wrestler. You can tell great stories. I saw it. Your WWE title run, which I don't remember you bleeding one fucking time, was amazing because you spoke with conviction. He still does. But you didn't need to bleed and persevere through it for me to know that you needed to be the champion. I was convinced you'd kill anybody to keep that title. You don't need it. And, like, if he enjoys it, that's a deeper psychological issue that I have no right to probe when I haven't even cleaned out my own house. But, like, homie, do something about it. Because you're too good of a wrestler for this shit. So, yeah, definitely, Craig. Definitely he's on the consideration for Wrestler of the Year for me.
Yeah, same. Next question is just for you, John.
Ooh.
Did you enjoy watching Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness?
I fucking loved it, Craig. Oh, I love that I get to talk about this again. Unironically, because, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I gotta tell you, Craig, and I haven't said anything to you that I haven't already said to Ashton here. I think a lot of people have a stick up their ass, truthfully. I think that film was way overly criticized from Beyond the Trailer, who, I just don't agree with a lot of her takes, but she has, genuine insider access. So, good on her for that, I guess, because we're able to be on the up and up about stuff. To people on Twitter that didn't like Sam Raimi's direction, I thought it was amazing. I love that there were genuine horror elements. Nothing that you couldn't show your kids, in my mind. But even the stuff that was implied, like the bisecting with the shield, fucking hardcore. Like, I wish Marvel would do more of that stuff. And, for the same reason that I hope that they don't stop, like, the R-rated stuff, with, like, the Deadpool movies.
3, yep.
There's rumors Deadpool 3 and stuff like that. Like, just do it. And, oh, God, I don't want to get too far afield, but the tangents I could go on with the way we're in the world right now. But it was a great fucking movie, Craig. I loved how it was shot. I loved, stylistically, the movie. I thought the performances were great. Elizabeth Olsen is amazing as Wanda Maximoff / Scarlet Witch. Just incredible. I even joked, because of the heel side in me, she definitely made me feel things. Because, man, she is a fine kind of crazy. Oh, beautiful. Fucking Benedict Cumberbatch, he is Doctor Strange. There are just people that just inhabit the fucking role. And we see it a lot in Marvel. John Bernthal inhabited the Punisher. Stuff like that. I feel that way with Doctor Strange here. I think the aesthetics of the world, because it is magic, they take full advantage of it. That was the case there. I love the story that it kind of told. Strange having to be honest with himself. You know what? I may not be happy because I don't have Christine. I don't have the life that I wanted, but I still have this power. I still have this responsibility. I'll make the best of it. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to Doctor Strange 3, whatever it is.
Hell yeah.
I like the first one, But I think just going by this series specifically, the second one was better than the first for me. And I'm hoping that the third is better than both of them. I'd like him to have a really solid trilogy. I would love that for the character. But yeah, it was great. The Illuminati was great. You know what? I'll wrap it up like this because I could go on for a long time. And this is the soundbite to end on. No Way Home is still my absolute favorite MCU film, just because, as I've said ad nauseum, I love that they actually showed in cinema what rehabilitative justice could actually look like. Like, you know, you gotta atone for this shit in a way, judicially speaking, but like, you know, make you better people, and you know, you'll be ready to face it. You know, you're human. People fall on hard times, all that stuff. So I like the message that we don't go down the route of retributive justice. If we're talking about having a good time and just enjoying a movie without being a goddamn essayist about it, and if you look at the post-capitalist critique in Spider-Man, and you just have fun with it because it's a fucking movie, like, yeah, this is the most fun I've had with an MCU film since probably Shang-Chi.
Yes! Dude, I fucking love it. I really want to go back and rewatch Shang-Chi sometime soon.
Yeah, definitely. I just had a great fucking time with it. So... All right. Next question.
Next question is for both of us. Is our country doomed to self-destruct with the conservative Supreme Court we have right now?
Here's the thing. It's really bad right now. And I'm not being serious because I know I just got that tone. Here's the thing. It's really bad right now. And, like, depending on who you see, not even just who you see as a person, because obviously we know the white supremacists don't see black people as people, but it's even who, like, you're cognizant of, because I would like to think Ashton and I and you, Craig, are mindful people, Abel, of course, but there are people that, like, they're always going to be out of our vision, metaphorically speaking, because most immediately we're thinking about our family, our friends, stuff like that. So it's going to be bad for the invisible people that we don't see or that we're not actively conscious of with the actions we take, what have you, whether maliciously or just unwillfully. But, you know, I think the empire is going to be here for a little bit longer because, to me, I do look at Democrats and Republicans as two sides of the same coin. Definitely, again, Democrats are 1,000 paper cuts, whereas Republicans are just like, oh, let's take this sledgehammer to your fucking skull and see what falls out. But you can see that they're not even sweating it because they're still just tweeting and they're still not even doing anything. I read an article last night that even Republicans inside the GOP are shocked that the Democrats haven't done anything. Because they're like, if we were them, we'd be raising hell on every single issue. Like, oh, you want to reverse Roe? Then if you really care about the children, let's talk about free diapers. Let's talk about free, you know, healthcare, like all this stuff. And we'd be going over and over again. They're not doing it. The progressives are calling for it, to be fair. But, like, establishment Dems are like, you know, vote in November and give me $15. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we're doomed, Craig, because I think the hamster's still running on the wheel. And I think hyperbolic language disincentivizes action, you know, organizing, grassroots movements, and again, just praxis in general, both within and without the bounds of liberal democracy, which I have called for repeatedly. So I don't like that language because I feel like that dissuades, that disincentivizes. It's just like, oh, well, you know, we're doomed, so I might as well just have a good time. Do what you can. And that means something different for different people. For some people, maybe it's stopping the person from killing themselves because they feel like you, Craig. It's like, oh, my God, we lost Roe. As a woman, I'm not safe here anymore. What's the point of my life? Maybe your practice is just keeping that woman alive that one day. Maybe for somebody else, it's donating whatever they can to to an organization, you know, that for healthcare or you know, migrant children or whatever. You know, there are ways to act. And I know, again, to kind of recourse back to Abel's question, you can't put it all on the individual. All action that's really meaningful, and I would even say genuinely moral, if we want to use that language, is collectivist in its character. Because the collectivist side of the corporations, they don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. And the Supreme Court is definitely on their side. But we can't surrender it. Because then if we surrender it, that makes it even easier for them than it already is. And it already looks pretty goddamn easy for them. We have to resist and subvert however we can. And we can't say doom until, you know, we're no longer around to see it. By which point it doesn't even matter. You say we're doomed when you're dead, because then it's not your problem anymore. But while you're here, don't say you're doomed because you're dooming yourself. So... just keep fighting however you can.
Yeah. Fuck, that's depressing. God damn it.
Dude, I've already been depressed by the conversations we've had on your side of things. Not that you've said anything wrong, but that's precisely why I'm depressed.
All right. Let's move on.
Let's pep the step, huh? Come on, we have a positive question somewhere. What's
Fifth
next?
and final question from Craig. What TV shows are you most excited to see return for new seasons this fall?
Boys is currently in progress. Barry got done. I can't say those, because those would be my immediate answers. What are we waiting for, dude? Because
Bro,
Umbrella Academy also happened.
I don't fucking know. Honestly, like, I Am Groot is the only thing that comes to mind. That's in August, though, not fall. Let me see here. That's July. That's August, September. Let's see. Cobra Kai Season 5 is in September.
That's my immediate answer until you say something else. Cobra Kai's fucking awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that one.
Apparently The Last of Us HBO show is going to be coming in September, maybe, hopefully, we hope, maybe?
I hope it's good. But yeah, just because I know Cobra Kai, that's going to stay locked in its place. But again, if you keep saying whatever's on the docket.
Yeah, I don't really know, man. I wish we could have gotten like a list of what's coming out in the fall or something, because I have fucking no clue.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Oh, here we go. I found a list. Okay, here we go. September 11th, Monarch on Fox. I don't know what the fuck that is. September 18th, 60 Minutes. September 25th, Celebrity Jeopardy, Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, and The Rookie. September 25th, The Simpsons, The Great North, Bob's Burgers, and Family Guy. October 2nd, The Equalizer and East New York. October 9th, NCIS Los Angeles. Monday, wait, what? Those were all Sunday. Excuse me, those were all Sunday shows. Here are Monday shows. September 19th, The Neighborhood on CBS. 911 on Fox. The Voice on NBC. Bob, I don't even know how to pronounce this. Abisola? I don't know how to pronounce that. Okay. That's on CBS. NCIS, The Cleaning Lady, NCIS Hawaii. Quantum Leap, October 3rd, Bachelor in Paradise, and The Good Doctor. Tuesdays, we've got September 20th, FBI, The Resident on Fox, The Voice, NBC, FBI International, CBS, Monarch on Fox, FBI Most Wanted on CBS, New Amsterdam on NBC, La Brea. Actually, didn't that already have a season? That's not new, is it? I feel like I've seen something about that actually looked interesting. Yeah. That already got a season 1. I might want to check that out. I don't know. Wednesday, September 21st, The Connors on ABC, Survivor on CBS, The Masked Singer on Fox, Chicago Med on NBC, The Goldbergs on ABC, Abbott Elementary on ABC, Lego Masters on Fox, Chicago Fire on NBC, Home Economics on ABC, Big Sky on ABC, The Amazing Race on CBS, Chicago PD on NBC. October 5th, The Real Love Boat on CBS. Thursdays, we've got on September 22nd, Law & Order on NBC, Law & Order SVU on NBC, and Law & Order Organized Crime on NBC. September 29th, Young Sheldon on CBS, Hell's Kitchen on Fox, Ghosts on CBS, So Help Me Todd on CBS, Welcome to Flatch on Fox, Call Me Kat on Fox, and CSI Vegas on CBS. October 6th, Station 19 on ABC, Grey's Anatomy on ABC, and Alaska Daily on ABC. Fridays, September 16th, Dateline NBC. September 23rd, Shark Tank on ABC, 2020 on ABC. October 7th, SWAT on CBS. Fire Country on CBS. Blue Bloods on CBS. And November 4th, Lopez vs. Lopez and Young Rock. And then Saturday, September 17th is 48 Hours. Literally none of them. Literally none of them at all. My fall will be dedicated to gaming and watching football.
Cobra Kai. So, next question.
That's the only, you know what? That's the only answer you need, man. That's the only answer you need.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks. Same to these.
You're proud of yourself, of course.
No, I'm proud of you.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. All right, next up, we've got our 3 questions from Rotten Butter. The first one is the first Rotten Butter question. He said, month, go.
Barry, which is fucking amazing, and if you're not watching it, good job sucking. The Boys, what else? Fucking, what are we watching on Family Days? Billions. Got back into Billions, watched season 5, and are currently in the midst of season 6. Paul Giamatti is a fucking treasure, people. He's honestly, I didn't know how much I loved him as an actor until
Wait,
seeing
did you
him in
say
this
Paul
role.
Giamatti?
So Paul, you're damn right.
Oh yeah, he's great. I
Fucking
love Paul
awesome.
Giamatti.
He's so great. Like, I remember him in school. You talked about like history class and shit. I remember we watched something on the Depression. I think it was Cinderella Man, and he was the corner guy for the boxer.
Dude, he can play
he was
any
great in
role.
that.
I feel like I've seen him in movies where I absolutely loved him, and I've seen him in movies where I've absolutely despised him. He is such a good, versatile, rangy actor. It's pretty cool.
Oh God, do I want to turn up talking about Paul Giamatti?
Do it.
No.
Do
I
it.
focus on the question.
Do it.
No, I was. He's. God, he's such a fine ass Chad. And if you guys want to know how disturbing I am when I'm really into a show, his dad, who is like total boomer business magnate, he has the most interesting eyebrows I've ever seen in my life. And I got really high last weekend watching Billions, and I leaned over to Christy because he had this like great speech to his son, because he's one of those demanding fathers, you know, because he's super rich. He doesn't want his son to be a disappointment because it's the whole generational kind of thing. And I'm like, you know, I'd bathe him in hospice. So yeah, I'm a fucking freak, monkey people. So yeah, Billions. If you're not watching that either, you're welcome. Get on that. Season 3 of Umbrella Academy, which has been amazing. I know Ash and I watched it together. Obviously, Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness. We are keeping up with Ms. Marvel, which I guess Ash and I are doing our part, because apparently Ms. Marvel, like analytically, isn't doing well with certain demos, aka white viewers. But with Black, Hispanic, and all that, it's actually doing really well. I think it's a great show. Last episode was very powerful, especially the ending.
What is more appropriate or effective in this instance? Fuck the right or fuck the white?
Yes. That should be like Black Panther 2.0 slogan, like right there. That's so perfect.
Which one? Wait, both?
Well, just both. Yeah. Fuck the white and fuck the right. Yeah, and you just chant it. You just chant it in the fucking street like it sells itself. Fuck yeah. Because then the people telling themselves, but I'm white and I'm not a problem. We mean whiteness as a socio-historical concept. Get it together. So, no, I don't wanna. Well then, yeah, too bad. Suck less. Oh, what else? God, we've done so much stuff. What the fuck are we even doing now? What's happening? I'll tell you what I've wanted to get back into, Better Call Saul, and I hope that comes, because I know my family's been talking about getting rid of Netflix, but I'm like, Better Call Saul is on there, so I kind of want to, finish that out. 'Cause that's really fucking good, and I know that dropped, but we haven't touched that yet.
Technically, I think our last Q&A was literally right before we started watching Stranger Things Season 4, so Stranger Things Season 4 Part 1, and starting tomorrow, Stranger Things Season 4 Part 2! And by starting tomorrow, I mean we're literally just going to watch the whole thing tomorrow and end up staying up until like 5 in the morning, and who cares?
Yeah, like, holy fucking shit. Yeah, tomorrow's gonna be intense. And we're not even camping! Oh, okay, anyway.
My family is, though, and they didn't even invite us! Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, are you okay? Do we need to... Okay, yeah, I'll check on you after. So, wrestling, philosophy nerd shit, fuck. I feel like there were movies we watched that I wanted to talk about that I liked, because again, obviously Multiverse of Madness. Have we watched any other movies? Why do I feel like we have?
Probably. I don't know. My mom's losing it right now.
I don't know what's happening. Let's see. Season 2 Stranger Things. Oh man, it's so good, bro. I've watched a little bit of One Piece content, but not even episodes. I want to go on another run, but it's so big, and that's what she said. But like,
it
also
really
in a good
is
way.
Massive and girthy.
But like, here's the thing, dude. It's so good. Because, yeah, I watched a Wisecrack video on the philosophy of One Piece, and it actually gave me a lot to think about. Because, like, it touches so much shit.
It's
like so good. I know, like, the thickness. Oh, my God. So, that's happening. Fuck, is there... Music-wise, I'm sure NLE Chop has put out some new music. I know, Polo G, he put out a new song that I thought was fucking great. I wish I could remember the fucking name of it, because I hate not being able to credit people properly. I hate that about my face. God, why is it so inadequate?
No, your face is the best. Stop insulting it.
No, it's horrible, and it needs to improve. But...
You got some nerve, mister.
It's my own face. I'll do what I want.
Not allowed.
God, what? Wow.
Bro,
wow.
Are you really going to come at me right now asking for bodily autonomy? No.
Yeah, oh, God. Oh God. So, Jesus. We really do. It's so bad. I'm talking loud so I don't cry. Yo, fuck. Y'all. I don't even. What? So I think I'm just gonna tap out here, and I'm just gonna hand it over. So yeah, I think that was pretty much my month, because I'm sure I've done other stuff with the family and like watched other stuff. We watched Shameless forever ago. I don't think we've touched any Shameless this month. Same way with The Witcher. Like, we actually kind of fell off of that show. It's really a shame because I really enjoyed the first season, so we haven't done that either. So yeah, I think I'm kind of exhausted. I've exhausted my answers here. And yeah, watch Barry and watch Billions, but especially Barry. If I had to pick one, fucking watch Barry. I'm telling you, you guys will thank me. You'll come to me and you'll be like, "Wow,
Barry.
Thank you."
Seriously.
See, he said it, and he's the fucking emotionally well-adjusted one. I mean, more so than me. So fuck.
Why
Watch
are you
Barry.
saying that like you have to be emotionally maladjusted in order to like Barry?
Well, liking Barry the show, no, you can be emotionally healthy. If people identify with Barry, that's a cause for concern.
I mean, don't identify with Barry, but watch it and enjoy the show.
I can just imagine somebody watching Barry and being like, yeah, us hitmen really go through it. Wait, what? Nothing. So,
what'd you say?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I gotta kill you later. What? No. But no, man. What about you? Come on, throw some stuff into the pot.
Dude, I've had 2 whole phases already this month. I'm so proud of myself.
Oh my God!
I had a dinosaur phase to start the month because Jurassic World Dominion, and that was great, and I loved it. And if you disagree, keep it to your fucking self. I don't want to hear it. And
oh damn!
I also, leading up to that, I watched the first 3, the Jurassic Park trilogy, and the first 2 Jurassic World movies. And I realized that Jurassic World, in and of itself, like Jurassic World, just the first Jurassic World movie, like the first one with Chris Pratt in it, is my least favorite of the 6 now.
I'm sorry, I still popped because of your sass, but yeah, that's great. I love that for you. So wonderful.
You good?
Yeah, I'm. No, but I'll be okay.
Aw, how come not good?
I'm just very discombobulated with sheer joy and just randomness.
Okay. Well, guess what else I watched before watching Jurassic World Dominion?
What else did you watch?
Prehistoric Planet.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that show you've been fucking raving about, especially in the Discord? Like,
yes.
the You Wish More documentaries and stuff, like nature stuff was like that.
I remember seeing it. It's so good. It's one of the most visually stunning documentaries I've ever seen in my fucking life. And I shouldn't say documentary, because obviously it's not like fucking found footage. Like, it's not actual footage of real animals. It's more technically of a mockumentary, but like, they give you real legitimate scientific facts, so it's still educational, but it's like CGI, so it's not real. Because like, you can't, there's no such thing. If there was, Jurassic World would like be a documentary and not a movie. But like, it's the CGI is fucking incredible. It's absolutely stunning. It's gorgeous. It's my new favorite dino doc, just to put it that way. And Jurassic World Dominion is my new favorite Jurassic movie. I think it's actually just fully unseated Jurassic Park, the first one, as my favorite Jurassic movie of all time. Jurassic Park's up there. Like, it might even be a tie, honestly. Like, they're pretty close to each other. I fucking love Jurassic Park. But Jurassic World Dominion was so good. Literally, the first words that I said after leaving the theater were, if that movie doesn't make $1 billion, I don't know what to even say about society anymore. That movie is that good. So, I loved Jurassic World Dominion. And my more recent phase, John, you might not even believe this, but if you'd been in the Discord, you'd know about it already, is a Power Rangers phase. I'm going through a Power Rangers phase right now.
I do know about that low key. Yeah, I actually did see that in the Discord, yes.
Yep. So
it's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So basically what sparked it, and this is going to be a weird one, was that Galatea randomly started talking about Studio Ghibli movies in chat, in the movies and television channel on the Discord, and that made me start talking about them, and how when I was really little, like my quote-unquote nostalgic Ghibli movie is My Neighbor Totoro, because I would watch that when I was very young, like 3 to 5 years old maybe, And I watched it with my Uncle Tony, who you might not even know about his existence because I don't ever talk about him. But he was my dad's mom's husband's son.
Yeah.
So step Uncle Tony, or like Tony, uncle-in-law Tony. I don't really know how you would call it, but
Yeah.
he and I were kind of buds back in the day when I was really, really young. He was a little older than me. He was probably like 11, 12. But we hung out. We played with Power Rangers toys. We watched Studio Ghibli. We watched like Totoro and stuff like that. We'd play Virtua Fighter on the Sega Saturn. I remember one year for Christmas we got these little snowball throwers that I couldn't figure out how to get to work because the snow wasn't wet enough to make snowballs out of. But yeah, like I remember playing Power Rangers toys with him, and that's what sparked this whole phase that now I am going back and watching episodes of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and watching YouTube videos about Power Rangers comics and listening to Power Rangers podcasts. Like it's a whole phase that I'm going through right now as we speak, and I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. I feel like I go through a Power Rangers phase at least once or twice a year, if not more.
Yeah, that's great though. I love that for you.
Yeah. I also just recently kind of started, maybe even had like a flash in the pan, like to the point that I might be over it already, a Pokemon Crystal phase where I was playing Pokemon Crystal obsessively, trying to like min-max and find the most optimal way to get through the game, with the least, the path of least resistance kind of thing. So that was fun. And yeah, the Stranger Things stuff. And yeah, I mean, I did go see Jurassic World Dominion in theaters. It was awesome. I loved it. And yeah, just having these fun phases that keep me occupied. They prevent me from getting bored. So it's a lot of fun. Anyway, I guess we can move on now, right?
Yep. All right.
Question number 2 from Rotten Butter. What are your thoughts on the YouTube channel, Channel 5?
Did we watch that?
I don't even know what the fuck that is, so I'm going to look it up.
Oh no. What did you do, Rotten Butter?
Channel 5 with Andrew, is it Callahan or Callaghan? I'm guessing it's Callahan. I don't know. I see something on here about Q, so I'm guessing it's awful.
Oh. Okay.
But I don't know anything about it, so it could be making fun of people that are bought into Q.
Yeah, I've never heard of it, so no comment.
It has almost 2 million subscribers.
Wow.
Oof. Oof.
Do you want to maybe fill us in on what kind of content is on the channel? Because I'm looking and there are literally only 25 videos on the entire channel. It's only existed for like a year, and they just uploaded 2 days ago something about a pro-choice rally.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprising if it was just more rightist media. They kind of own YouTube low-key, but... Oh, dude, you need to watch it. Best journalism on YouTube. He travels to various events and interviews people. Oh, maybe I've seen... Does he Twitch stream at all? Because maybe my family's watched him, because I don't know.
Is this the guy that, went to the fucking Trump rally and was like, oh, the anti-abortion stuff is whatever, and basically got some guy to basically admit my body, my choice about masks?
Yeah. I'm wondering that, too.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be. I have no clue, honestly.
All Gas No Brakes.
I've heard of All
family
Gas
has
No
watched
Brakes,
that guy.
for sure.
Yes, I've heard of that too. In fact, I've seen a little bit of him on Twitch stream or something, or maybe it was YouTube. I'm mainly just watching it there, and he seemed pretty funny to me. So yeah, if that's the same guy, I guess he's all right from the limited exposure I've had. But I would need a lot more for a more substantive and qualified opinion. But for now, I would just say, yeah, he's all right. Yeah, I laughed with the little I saw because it seems like he lampoons rightists and conspiracy theorists and stuff like that. So.
Are we done?
I think so, yeah. If you've got another now, we can move on to the next question.
Question number 4. What happened to question 3?
We answered it.
Well, no, the last
You
one
do
was
this every
the
time,
last one was question 2.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Every time, man. You do this to us every time, and mainly to me. This is Cool Hand Luke over here, but me, I'm just like, fuck. Every time I take the bait. One day I'm not going to. I'll graduate this class. Next set of questions.
Are from Ella.
Awesome. I was really happy to see that she submitted.
Yes.
Hope you're doing well, Ella. You're fucking wonderful.
First question, when does putting your own needs first cross the line from self-care to selfishness?
God, this question really hits home for me because I feel like I definitely don't do enough self-care on that front. But then I always fear being selfish. I guess it's when you're in a... Yeah.
What were you going to say?
No. I want you to go first because I feel like you were about to say something.
I think the easiest answer here is that self-care doesn't need to involve anyone else, whereas selfishness is when someone else is losing out due to your own, need to make yourself first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think self-care is a net positive because it's only a positive to you and it's not a negative to fucking anyone. Whereas and sometimes self-care can even be a positive to other people because, like, part of self-care is fucking hygiene. And if you stink in public, everyone suffers.
Yes.
If you have bad breath, everyone near you suffers. If you're fucking miserable because you don't go to therapy and you have a lot of stress and a lot of, depression and a lot of anger pent up and you're just a piece of shit to everyone, self-care would help everyone around you then too. So, like, I think self-care is strictly a positive thing. Selfishness is benefiting yourself at the expense of others.
Yes. Yeah, I really
Selfishness is you
that.
have less so that I can have more.
Yes.
And I think, in a way, selfishness to a certain degree can be a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, being willing to say no when somebody is asking a lot of you, like, to the point that you're uncomfortable doing something and that you're, it's more important for you to spare yourself from a potentially traumatic experience than it is for you to help someone that might need help. I think that is a combination of both. I think that's a little bit of self-care and a little bit of selfishness. But I think, like I said, I think that you can be selfish to a point and have it not necessarily be that big of a bad thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of get what Ella's saying here. I think it's like, it's less about self-care versus selfishness. Or I guess it is about self-care versus selfishness, but the version of self-care that's always going to be perceived by some people as selfishness. Like, another example, you're sick and you call off work and they say, oh, we really need you in here, we can't get a replacement or whatever. That, to me, is self-care. That's not selfishness. But I guarantee you that the people that work there would smack the label of selfishness on it for sure.
Oh, you know it. Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on this, John? I want to hear what you have to say.
I mean, God, I can't say it any better than you did. I think a lot of people have trouble, making that distinction for themselves. I know I certainly do. I am going front about it. I certainly do. But I also like how you mentioned, certain dynamics where the one could be treated as the other. For people that are entitled to vacation days, and then they use them, and it's like, oh, but the company really needs you. Not my problem. I told you I was going to use these the moment I walked in here. I don't think that's selfish. Because, you're on the weaker side of the relationship. You're on the inequitable side of that relationship. So I think that's an important thing, too. Like, this question matters in a social and political context, as well as just a general life context. And I think when you don't do self-care, I think the pendulum can swing the other way and become selfishness. Because if you're not doing the self-care, and like Ashton said, like, you're miserable or whatever, you may lash out at those people because you blame them for not really being able to give yourself what you need. And true, maybe some people do have some agency in that. I'm not denying that possibility. But I think having that kind of negative reaction because adequate self-care hasn't been taken makes selfishness more possible. And I also agree with Ashton that there are ethical forms of selfishness, but I don't even necessarily like calling it selfishness because our society, I think, has given it such a negative connotation.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, if I say that I need something, like I can tell you right now, I'm helping a friend of mine with her dissertation. I've been helping her for a year, and by the sound of it, at least from talking with her, I'm going to be spending all 2023 on it with her too. But I take breaks when I need it. I'm going to be finishing up a reading assignment for her soon, and then I'm going to say, like, I'd like the next week or maybe even 2 weeks off just to recharge my batteries. That's self-care. Because, like my sister told me, you spend time filling up other people's cups, you got to fill up your own cup.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's selfish to do that. Because again, to recourse back to what Ashton said, and again, that's why I said I couldn't say it any better than he did. When you take care of yourself, that's when you're at your maximal best to take care of others like you want to. But then if you choose not to do that when you know you could, see, I guess that's what I was going to say very basically. If you know you can, and you know that it like wouldn't cost too many spoons or just resources, and you don't do it, yeah, I could say that's kind of selfish. Like if I was in a good mental space to go, say, on the crisis line that I volunteer at, although I'm not really comfortable volunteering there anymore because it turned out that, they might be selling the data to companies, and I really don't want to be a part of that. But say hypothetically I didn't know that and I was still working there. And I'm feeling really good and I've been feeling really good for months. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I should go there. But then I decide not to because I'm like, nah, I'd really prefer to do this. And it's like it wouldn't cost you that much time. Just do an hour, maybe a conversation or two. Or if you have excess money and you're like, oh, I could give maybe even only $30 to this, but I'll choose to hang on to it. I could get that. But that's only when you're in a really good place and you have the means emotionally, financially, psychically to do something. But the scary thing about our world is I think those means are becoming increasingly scarce, like on every front. Like obviously we know people are hurting at the pump. Psychically, people have to endure this. I'm gesturing wildly everywhere. I know we don't use webcams. So...
We might eventually. I don't know.
I don't know about that, Chief. I'm going to have to cough up the dough. They want to see all this excellence. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like everything's going to become self-care before long, and the line's going to be obliterated because we're not going to have really the means to help other people if things keep going on this trajectory, which is why we need to collectivize now, because rents keep hiking, prices just in general keep hiking, people keep getting isolated with the way cities are built and everything. They don't want community.
No.
And therefore, and then they even kind of like, pervert the idea of self-care in that way. It's like, oh, don't worry about other people, worry about you. But no, like me worrying about that person is also in my interest. Because, we're all a community. Fucking cosmopolitanism, people. So, yeah, I guess that's my 2 cents on that, but we can move on to the next question.
All right. Well, our next question is, again from Ella. How many states have you visited, and what are your favorites/least favorites?
Okay, well, I live in Jersey, and that's a fucking toilet bowl.
Lived.
Yeah, lived. Thank Christ. New Hampshire is beautiful, and I've been to different parts of New Hampshire. I know you said states. I'm just going state by state that I have experience. Love it here. Love it here. Wish we didn't have a Republican governor, and I can see the state in some ways going further right, which does distress me, genuinely. But on the whole, I still love it here. I feel more at home here in 8 years than I did in Jersey for, 20. So it just goes to show you home really is where the heart feels at peace. I visited Virginia before because I have family there. Oh, God, I really don't want to be a heel necessarily, but I can't help but be a heel. Kind of a dump. Kind of sucks. Maybe you want to improve the state a little. There was one good part of it, because I know my sister's boyfriend, now husband, he used to live there. That place is really nice, and I had a lot of fun there, and it seemed like there were cool things doing people, but there are other parts of Virginia that, somebody forgot to clean out the toilet. And Colorado's great. Colorado, I mean, my fucking community there with that conference, I mean, the weed is free. I mean, legal, not free, but, you guys get what I mean, And, yeah, just classy, very cultured. So, yeah, those are the only places I've been, because I think technically I've been in Maine just for a doctor's appointment, but that's not enough to really take in the state, right? Because that's not visiting the state, that's visiting an institution that happens to be located in that state.
Right.
But, yeah, those are the places I visited. I'm not very cultured, Ella, unfortunately. I'd like to really, I've always wanted to do international travel. I've always said I'd like to go to Greece or France just for philosophy stuff. But yeah, those are the states, and yeah, New Hampshire's the best. And New Jersey and Virginia. Which one of you is the worst? I'm gonna say New Jersey. You just go there, and I'll tell you. Just because I'm really feeling like a piece of shit right now, I'm enjoying it far more than I should. You go to New Jersey, and there's just a smell. You know what I mean? You just go there, and you're like, wow, it really smells like shit here, and you can't wait to leave. I was so happy to leave. It's a real piece of shit. So
it sounds
yeah, what about you?
Truly awful. Which I will say, I have been in Jersey before. As I mentioned, I've been to beaches in Jersey before. I've also been to Florida because I went to Disney World when I was very young.
Nice.
I've been to Texas because my mom's ex-husband's family lived in Texas, and we went down there to visit them for a week or two when I was young. I've been to New York, specifically New York City, on like a class trip when I was in college. We all got to sign up and take a trip to the NYC, to the Big Apple, and I hated it. And I've been to Indianapolis, working a NASCAR race with my dad. That, honestly, if we're talking about cities, as far as what my favorite city is that I've ever been in, it's Indianapolis. I loved that. That was fucking amazing. Indianapolis is a sight to behold. And then the other big one, well, which, of course, all of the states, and because I've been on a plane to Florida before, but I've also been on a car ride to Florida, I believe. So technically, I've been in, quote unquote, all of the states on the East Coast, plus like West Virginia. I'm pretty sure that the trip to Texas and back was also in a car. So that means that I've been in, quote unquote, all of the states on the way from PA to Texas. I've also been in Ohio. I've never been in like anything there. I mean, we've been through South Carolina, but I've never like stayed in South Carolina. I think that about covers it. What was I would just say Indiana, honestly. Out of all the states that I visited, I would say Indiana's my favorite. Just because Indianapolis was awesome. I loved it there. But I also like...
Yeah.
I will say, though, that I worked with my dad for 2 weekends. It was 2 races. It was the Indianapolis 500, and then it was the Pocono something or other. And the Poconos is in Pennsylvania. The same state that I was born and raised. And I fucking loved it there, too. Because literally, like, we got a fucking amazing, like... I don't even... Condominium... It was like a condo with a fucking... like a balcony inside looking over the living room. It was gorgeous and I loved it. And like the experience was great, other than the bullshit that my dad put me through. You all probably know already that I don't have the best relationship with my dad. But like the experience, if it wasn't for the person that I was there with or the people that I was there with, it would have been amazing. So really you could say, I think it's less about states and less about like just like where you are in a state. Because like John, you're talking about, oh, Virginia's a dump, but I guarantee you, if you would visit one of the nicer cities in Virginia, you wouldn't say that. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course.
And like for me, I've been to the nicest city probably in Indianapolis, and that's going to be my choice. But I've also been to Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, and I've also been like to State College in PA, and I've also been to Poconos, and I've been to Gettysburg, and like Harrisburg is another really good one. I fucking love Harrisburg. But I've never been to Pittsburgh, and maybe I would like Pittsburgh even more than I liked Indianapolis. I don't know. But yeah, just going by cities rather than states, my favorite city that I've ever been in is Indianapolis by quite a bit. It was great.
All right.
So
Next
I guess
question.
by the question being states, I would say Indiana. Least favorite, because she did say, how many states have you visited and what are your favorites / least favorites? Least favorite, Texas by a mile. Texas, I fucking hated. The bugs are huge. There are snakes everywhere. I got bit by fire ants. It was miserable. I hated it. I never want to go back there again.
Yeah. Ooh, that's rough.
What was your least favorite? New Jersey, right?
New Jersey, just because of the exposure and the trauma and everything else. But and that's the thing too. Virginia as a state, really, I should be specific because it was the part of the state that we visited where my uncle and my aunt lived. Because like, look, I don't want to put anybody on blast, but the house was fucking horrible. Like there were flies everywhere, and like I think sometimes that my room is a bit unkempt. I think I even told you recently that I'd like to clean my room this weekend if I have the time and the energy.
Yeah.
I'd never let it get that fucking bad. I think I'm genuinely, like, I have PTSD from that time in there. That was a horrible vacation. Yeah, but I gotta tell you, as far as New Hampshire, I love where we live, but the bugs can be obnoxious because it's a very, rural area, a lot of woods, a lot of water. It can be beautiful. Oh my God, can it be beautiful? But I think my favorite place in New Hampshire that I've been to, because I know Christy and I have had breakfast there a couple times, and just me and the whole family have gone there. Peterborough. Peterborough is a beautiful fucking city. And again, more progressive than where we live. Because where we live, you get your Trumpsters, your older folk and stuff like that. Peterborough, they got the Black Lives Matter energy. They've got, I could tell that, like, if a progressive was genuinely on the ballot, they'd probably kill it in Peterborough, for sure. So, yeah, great city. And they serve amazing food there, too. I don't even know if I heard my family talking about getting Thai food from there for our family day coming up, but, oh, God, that's so fucking good. Oh, my God. So, yeah, Peterborough is amazing.
Nice.
But, yeah, next question from Ella.
Third and final question from Ella. Do you enjoy going to movie theaters? I absolutely love it. I love movie theaters. Even if the seats aren't perfectly comfortable, I love the experience. I love feeling immersed. I love the huge screen. I love the loud speakers. I especially love 3D movies now because you can't really get that experience at home. And, yeah, I've really grown to be a huge fan of the experience over the years. John, you get to say your thing now.
Oh yeah, I love this question because I get to push my agenda. I haven't been to a movie theater in so fucking long. Like it's genuinely been like years and shit. I will say though, I have been saying that since Barry season 3, that the moment that Bill Hader I'm sorry, I saw a random Twitter video. Oh God, I gotta show you this later. I'm gonna send it to you. But when Bill Hader finally directs a feature film, which like a lot of his fans, myself included, have been calling for, I am taking my ass to the fucking theater. I don't even care if I have to tell Christy, like, hey, drop me off here. I'll take an Uber from there to the movie theater, and then I'll take an Uber from the movie theater back home, or like back to the place where you drop me off and then you pick me up. I don't give a shit logistically how I'll make it work. I'm going to support him in the theater. Dude's fucking amazing. But yeah, up until then, have not been to a theater in so long. Streaming has completely taken over my life. And honestly, as a disabled person, not the worst thing. That's why I'm really not anti-technology or whatever. I think, technology in the right hands and used accordingly in a proper economic structure is fucking wonderful because I look at streaming as an accessibility thing. Not everybody can get out, you know what I mean, and like go to the movies or whatever. Yeah. So you just get fucking HBO Max and there it is. So yeah, but Bill Hader, definitely supporting him in the theater. And honestly, if I could, and maybe I'd get a chance to one day, oh God. Why is this? Jordan Peele. I'd like to support him in the theater one of these days. Yeah.
You gonna go see Nope in theaters?
I don't think so. I think I'll like stream that one because I'm still waiting for us to watch Us together. Yeah. Because we recently watched You, which was.
I mean, if we watch Us before Nope hits theaters, would you go see it then?
Maybe. I'd really have to see. I have to look at some stuff. But yeah, I would like to support him too. Admittedly, he's really good. Mm-hmm. So next set of questions.
Well, last set of questions now. It's only 2 questions, and it is from DBK. First one is, what will be the most realistic way to fix the U.S.?
Oh, this is actually interesting because he said realistic.
I know, dude, I was literally going to say, oh, you mean realistic? So, like, waiting 40 years for all the boomers to die off and hoping that the generations keep getting more and more progressive the way that they have over the last 30 years? Yeah, that's our best bet. That's the most realistic thing.
You can watch that video while I answer because I'd like to give a slightly less depressing answer.
Cool.
Not by much though. Because Ashton is right. I'm still laughing thinking about that fucking video. Only in this world. You got to remember to laugh, people. That's a genuine piece of free advice from me. I know the world's on fire, and I know laughing is in itself a kind of privilege. But when you can laugh at some things, just do it. No, I think the most realistic option beyond that, because again, I don't disagree with Ashton by any fucking means. But I do think that the next best thing would be pushing for progressive candidates. It really would be. Like, I know AOC is gaining a lot of momentum, seemingly. I think she's been playing her cards right. To be truthful,
she was on a show recently. It might have been John Oliver. It might have been Stephen Colbert. I think it was Colbert, actually, that told her that she needs to run for president in 2024.
And that's how it fucking starts. I will say, would I vote for AOC? Of course I would. Like, that's not a fucking question. But I'm going to be honest, because I've said it to other people, I've said it to my family. I just get Obama vibes from her. I just feel like she'd campaign very far left, and then she'd govern, so to speak, very moderately or even very centrist. Like, I don't know. I like Nina Turner, but I try and be skeptical of all politicians. I hate to use this language, but I got to keep it honest with y'all, and it's just how I feel. I try and never be a simp for a politician. You're never going to see me donate to a campaign. The most I'll do is vote.
Well,
and I have
to lighten the language a little bit, you try never to be a fan of a politician.
Yeah, exactly. I never want to be a fan of anybody. I've been retweeting a lot of Nina Turner stuff, but I don't know. You're saying a lot of stuff because you only have the pulpit, not the power. You know, how are you going to be when you have the power? And I know not one person. We don't have a monarchy. Not all power is vested in one individual. But it's amazing, though, how certain singular individuals can stop the whole fucking machinery. Yeah. Fucking McConnell, Sinema, Manchin, like those people. It's funny how, like, that whole, and they're a coalition, whatever. But anyway, yeah, I think, again, I'm not fervently disagreeing with Ashton, or fervently, there you go. I know I can speak. It's just I'm really starting to run dry, I guess, here. Fervently arguing against Ashton here. But I do think the next best thing is just go progressive. And I don't think progressive is left enough, but it's better. And liberals, we cannot do. I'm already hearing about, is Hillary 2024 on the horizon? Why? Why? Even progressives don't want that, to their credit, because they're like, look, stop trying to make Hillary happen. Hillary isn't going to happen. Let me tell you something. She lost. And look, should we have voted for her? She
lost to the worst candidate maybe of all time, or at least since like the fucking 70s.
And see, that's where I have to take some of the agency off of us, because I know you've said, bro, like, because you and I both were the same mindset. They screwed Bernie, they can go fuck themselves. We're sitting this one out. But here's the thing, too. Should we have voted for her? Yeah. I will take the sense of responsibility that we have on that. But let me be clear, and I'm speaking solely for myself here because I've wanted to say this for a while. I'm not taking that much responsibility for it. I am taking the fair amount. But maybe we didn't vote for you because you're still a shit fucking candidate. Not as shit as the right-wing candidate. I get it. We all get it. But maybe stop trying to be lesser evil and just be good. Maybe just be a good candidate. And honestly, by U.S. standards, a good candidate would be an FDR, at the very least.
Yeah.
A New Deal kind of thing. Let's do it. And then, you know what? It still fucking sucks for other people. And, you know, I try and be globally conscious, and that's totally fair. Anybody that would want to take out our FDR candidate, or just critique them, not take them out. God, that's a little dark. But, like, what I mean is, if you wanted to critique them, rake them over hot coals, that's fair. I'll probably join you, to be quite honest. But, like, yeah, that's the best we could probably do. And Hillary was never that candidate. She was like having the celebrity dinners, and she did the cringe stuff like Joe's doing now, where they do the fucking performative shit. And it's like, there's no substance. And yes, racism is real. And yes, sexism is real, fucking obviously, with how much we fucking talked about it. But you know what else is real? Economic anxiety, actual like fears and populist rage that she kind of snubbed her nose at. So yes, we have responsibility for not voting for her. But to be quite honest, I wouldn't even take on too much of that responsibility because, again, like you said about Abel's question, to me that's putting it on individuals when what do you expect them to do when the whole fucking structure sucks? You know, like, it really is part of our political victimization. I was telling that to Ashton in a conversation. You know, the whole lesser of two evils thing, I don't want to say that's gaslighting because that's misusing the term, but God, that's emotionally manipulative. That is so, because I even remember in 2016, right? Not 2016. I think it was 2000. Was Romney 12 or 8? Romney was 8, right? 2008. It was Obama and Romney, I think. Because then McCain challenged Obama after, I think.
No, dude. McCain was 08 because I feel like I remember Sarah Palin jokes that year.
Okay. So yeah, Romney was 2012. Like my half sister messaged me like, "Oh, John, you have to go and vote for Obama because Romney is a threat to Social Security," and I'm like, you're not wrong on the face of it, right? But can we just stop and ask ourselves why we willfully put ourselves in a position where a party can threaten the things that is peace and sanctity and security for so many fucking people? Why do we structure it like this where we willfully tolerate evil, genuine evil? Like, it doesn't. And that's the gaslighting part to me. The idea that we have to accept it. That's the gaslighting part. Like, oh, but we need the two parties because you don't want, like, a monarchy or whatever. Well, let's talk about qualitative differences. This party wants to kill me. This one doesn't. I don't know why this one's in the fucking room. I genuinely don't know why you're here. I mean, I know why you're here, but for my sake, I don't know why you're here. So, yeah, we should have voted
God,
Hillary,
it's going to be so great if there ever comes a day when current-day liberals are the conservative party.
Oh, dude. Oh, you fucking know it's coming. You fucking know it's coming. Because what's going to happen is...
Wait, I feel like you misinterpreted what I meant, but continue.
No. Clarify. I'm not going to continue until you clarify, because then I'm not going to continue to be wrong.
Well, no. Okay, so what I mean is a day when people who currently identify as liberals are the rightmost viable party in the U.S., and that there's another party to the far left of them that is actually challenging them and like going toe-to-toe with them.
Oh, well, I don't really think I got you that wrong, because what I was about to say was, like, that is going to definitely happen in the future, because I feel like when progressives get actual power to do shit, like, the liberals are going to be like, that's too far, or God, I can't wait to hear. I wish Nina Turner or AOC, whoever gets the kind of power first. I personally, right now, from what I'm seeing, would prefer Nina, but we'll see what happens. You know, like, I wish they would be more civil. There's no civility in the progressive. We're dying. Do you understand that? We're dying. Like, fuck you. Fuck this discourse. So yeah, no, today's liberal is tomorrow's rightist turncoat, for sure. Because any true radicalism that actually helps people and kind of changes the way of life, they don't want that. They want to be a part of the aristocracy. That's liberalism. They want to be a part of the aristocracy. They just don't want to feel bad about it. That's the difference. Whereas the conservative just doesn't give a shit. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, sorry, I guess. Not really.
Not really. Yeah, exactly.
So, like, yeah, we should have voted Hillary. I'll take that. But I was saying think pieces like, is Bernie sexist, or was this because of sexism? And yeah, definitely part of it. Definitely part of the loss. But, like, she was shit, people. She was fucking shit. Not as shit as Trump. And again, that's why we should have voted for her. But, like, I guarantee you, if she was running again in 2020, we would still be doing the lesser of evils discourse. And it would be about maybe another Trump or whatever. And the thing is, not to go all counterfactual on it, Trump definitely tapped into something, but that's just it. If he tapped into something, that means it was already latent within the country, right? He didn't bring something from without. He tapped into it because it was already fucking there. So to me, right, if it wasn't him, even if it would have been several decades, and I'm not denying that possibility, it still would have been tapped into because this is what America is. And by the way, I know, I did the thing. I didn't want to go on a tangent. I was so well behaved for most of this. But, like, I was so close. But that's why I hate when liberals are like, this isn't who America is. This isn't who we are. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Literally, this isn't even our land. We fucking forcibly killed indigenous people and starved them out. I will never, for as long as I live, get the picture out of my fucking mind of all the bison skulls stacked on top of each other because they literally starved a whole peoples out. But that's not who we are. Learn a book, Seth, in the words of like SNL or what the fuck ever. Like, yeah, learn a book. And that's the problem with liberalism. I'm even talking with my friend Brian, and like, yeah, he even knows, like, because liberalism, it's all about speech, right? Like, oh, we could talk to them. You can't talk to somebody that has a gun to your head. That's not speech. That's coercion. That's intimidation. They want to kill you. There's no discourse. So realistically, to circle all the way back to DBK's question, realistically, it's like, yeah, Ashton said, you got to wait for the boomers. Gen Xers just fucking die off, and then you fucking seize. But you know what, though? I gotta say, Ashton, even that's not necessarily viable, only because you know the boomers know that they're aware of their own mortality, so they're passing on their bullshit to the next generation. And that's why we got alt-right. Because I feel like the alt-right is just the evolved boomer, more or less. And they start out, like, being socialized by the boomer in the first place. Yeah. So they already have a contingency plan in place. It's like, I'm dying. My ideas aren't, though. Fuck you. God, I hate them all so much. So yeah, realistically, progressive or bust. And honestly, that's really fucking sad because even that doesn't realize the world's full potential. But when has America ever done that, right? So there you go.
All right. Wait, we had one question left.
Oh, is it a positive one? Can we go out on a happy note? I'd love that.
Bruh, I don't fucking know. Why don't I pull it up?
Do it now.
It's DBK, remember?
That is true.
The last question is for you, John.
Oh my god.
When I convince Kyrie to become a DBKism ambassador, will you give it a shot?
So it's not going to go out on a high note. No. because Kyrie isn't going to go for your cult because Kyrie is above cults. And stop brainwashing my child, maybe? Yeah, I don't know. That's my answer for you. I'm not joining DBKism, and my son is ultimately going to realize the error of this religion, and he's going to, fucking just go back to us just doing our thing and winning among us together as father and son. That's my hope. That's my dream. But no, I'm not joining DBKism. No, you can forget that. In the words of Moxley, we're not doing that shit. So yeah, that's how we're ending this Q&A. That was kind of a wet fart ending. It's really disappointing. Foster, we love you and we miss you. You need to go back to being the main event. We gave another person a potion and ended horribly.
Yeah.
See, co-signed. I was awfully co-signed. He's supposed to be the good parent and rein me in. But no, yeah, it's God, Foster. I love you so much. Hope you're doing well, bud. But yeah, that said, that was Q&A. That happened.
All right. Well, I think that's it. If we're ready to go home, we can go home. Are you ready to go home, bud?
I'm just going to give them the date for the next Q&A and then the spiel, and then you can outro us. I am so fucking... Yeah.
Happy July, everyone!
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Next Q&A is July 28th. So, 27 days away, people. Get your fucking questions in. I can't believe we still went over 2 hours, and we only had 24 questions. That's insane. So, yeah. Yeah, we'll see you July 28th for the next Q&A. I'll switch the pin tweet out. 3 questions if you're not a Patreon donor. 5 if you are donating to the Patreon. It's only $1 for extra questions. But if you donate 3, you get Discord access, and there's a Q&A channel. And it's just super easy to submit questions there. So get them in. Like the video, subscribe, click the bell icon so you don't miss any of the Roganist. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Ashton, outro as quick as you can so I can get food and we can watch The Boys, because I am super fucking psyched for this episode.
Wait, is The Boys up already?
It is, and I actually almost got spoiled because I walked out when we were done our Stardom reaction, and apparently Christy and Chris were watching episode 7. So I would really like to watch it when I get food so that we have no risk of being spoiled. Okay. So take us home.
All right, everyone. We hope you enjoyed our Q&A this month. Remember to get your questions in for next month, which John already mentioned is going to be July 28th. That's Thursday, July 28th. In the meantime, like this video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon, and follow us on Twitter and Twitch. If you'd like to support us, you can also subscribe on Twitch, buy our merch on Spring, donate to our Patreon, and share this channel and this video with all your wrestling fan friends, and let them in on the best kept secret in the YouTube and Twitch wrestling communities. We are TWitWoW, and we are the workhorses of the Y and T WCs, and we will be seeing you all again tomorrow 3 times, actually. We have a Stardom show at 4, Rampage at 10, and then our preview predictions for Money in the Bank at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. All those times are p.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, Saturday we've also got a live reaction to Money in the Bank. That'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We hope you're looking forward to that, because we do not cover WWE shows very often, and I am not looking forward to it. All that being said, though, we will... I'll get up a July schedule between then and the following week. Not 100% sure what all we're doing in the meantime. I'm looking forward to next weekend, though, because we've got a lot of Stardom, and I'm really excited about it. So we hope you're looking forward to all that content coming at your face. And most importantly, it's really, really vital that you remember to stay tuned.